That's Taja.
Taja Ramses will probably never watch this story, even though she agreed to sit down for an interview. We warned her there would be images like this. And this.
This is a big hole in our family. This is Lula.
She prefers to remember her son and grandchildren
Esme.
This way.
Ayoka and Kisasi.
There was a total of 6 people in the car.
Was it October?
October 31st. They were coming home from trick-or-treating.
Coming home when her son, movie stuntman Taja Ramses, turned onto I-20 and slammed into a broken-down semi-truck. Taja and 3 of his children were killed.
I'm sure he probably tried swerving. That's why the biggest impact was on his side.
While several factors contributed to the crash, part of Taja's vehicle ended up underneath the semi-truck, otherwise known as an underride accident.
Had you ever heard the term underride before?
I didn't until you told me.
The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA, says 630 people die in underride crashes each year. In 2022, the most recent year data is available, 12 underride crashes happened in Georgia. But 11 Alive News Investigates discovered that number is low, really low. We pulled police reports and pictures from crash scenes and found the total number of underride crashes could be 3.5 times higher.
So much of these analyses, whether it's cost-benefit analyses or studies that we do, depend on accurate counts of the size of the problem.
That's Matt Brumbelow, an engineer with the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety. NHTSA only counts crashes if the officer uses the word underride. Taja's crash report only says he rear-ended the truck. That's why NHTSA has asked states to add a box or a code on their report to make underrides easier to identify. 18 states have done it. Georgia isn't one of them. Brumbelow serves on a committee Congress created to prevent underrides. It recommended trailers be required to install rear guards strong enough to prevent the driver of a car going 35 miles per hour from going under, even if they hit at an angle or off to the side like Taja.
Depending on where the vertical supports are, if they're not close to the edge and they're not strong enough, then what happens is the end of that horizontal beam can just move out of the way.
Nicholas was my sweet child.
Liz Perkins Carson lost her son in an underride crash. Last September, a jury awarded her and another victim's family $462 million. The truck's rear guard met federal standards, but tests had shown for years there were better models available.
The industry not only ignored the safety issue, but they actually, lobbied against any meaningful regulations that would enhance the safety.
The trucking industry cites the cost to buy and install the bars, as well as the impact on gas mileage when you add weight.
It's almost as necessary as having seat belts. It costs a lot more to include them, but they have saved a lot of lives.
Rebecca Lindstrom, 11 Alive News, investigates. We have all passed those accidents. The ones where the cars are so mangled, it is unlikely anyone survived. A car crashing into the side of a tractor trailer tends to be one of them.
Bumpers, airbags, seatbelt tensioners, they don't work in that kind of a crash because the first point of impact, which would trigger that, is at the windshield.
Marianne Karth lost her 2 daughters more than a decade ago when a truck hit her car on I-20, sending it into another tractor trailer.
To have all of a sudden to have lost my children and just in the blink of an eye and not be able to say goodbye.
That pain fueled Karth to become a fierce safety advocate. Our sister station in Tampa Bay caught up with her on a rainy day as engineers showed how a tractor trailer side guard could save lives.
Oh, yes! It didn't pass the windshield. You see that?
There's really no chance of injury.
Aaron Kiefer helps recreate accidents, and he says his guard can keep a vehicle, pedestrian, or bike from sliding under.
It's a side impact guard that also ties into the rear of a trailer so that the trailers guard it around the entire periphery.
The federal government requires a bar on the back of the truck, but when it comes to the sides,
There are currently no regulations at all for side underride guards in the U.S.
Matt Brumbelow, Kiefer, and Carth serve on a committee Congress created to prevent underrides. The majority recommended the federal government mandate side guards too.
This is a very passionate group here in this meeting.
But those on the committee representing the trucking industry don't agree. They argue a good design to protect bicyclists and pedestrians is different than what's needed to stop a car.
There are no side underride guard designs right now that fit the bill.
The added weight could mean less cargo capacity. There are worries about ground clearance as a truck crests a hill and, of course, cost.
When you go and spend a lot of money on one particular solution, that's money that cannot be spent on another solution that may be more effective and save more lives.
And there's a big disagreement over how many lives are impacted by these crashes each year. The federal government estimates that by installing side guards, 17 people would be saved each year. But there are people on the committee who feel that's low, that the federal government didn't calculate that number correctly.
Using an entirely different approach, we came up with a number that was about 10 times as large.
While the industry debates what makes financial sense, Carth says she'd pay anything to have her daughters back.
It's a slap in the face when you lose a loved one like this and you learn it's preventable. That makes you very angry and frustrated.